And some people cannot differentiate between fat and flat.
Mhm.
And I think Arnold was flat.
Hi everybody, Golden Era Bookworm here, and today we continue with the series of video interviews with 1983 Mr. Olympia, Samir Bannout. In the previous video, Samir mentions that he and others knew that Arnold was competing in the Mr. Olympia, and in this video interview, Samir discusses his opinion as to why Arnold was not at his best in the 1980 Mr. Olympia, and the discussion is rather surprising. Here is Samir.
I know during that time, Arnold was really going at it. You could see that. I know who's really training seriously. You know, I see Arnold at the gym bullshitting at time. He's doing nothing. He's just like, boom, a little bit of that, a little bit of calves, and he leave. But prior to the 80, he was training with vengeance. He was training, and he was serious. And, you know, I mean, when you have a guy like Arnold going on stage, he's not going to, like, mess around. He's going to train hard. And he was training hard. And he looked damn good, actually, during that time. That something happened later. I'll tell you what happened to him.
It said that Arnold wasn't doing squats and things like that, but he was doing Smith machine work. Were there any other changes that you saw in Arnold's training that could have affected his physique presentation at the 80 Olympia?
No. Arnold was training hard, and his body was responsive again, and he was really making major progress. And I felt like he was definitely going to be the man to be. In my, you know, I'm very passionate. I'll tell you the truth here. But many people don't understand what happened to Arnold. Arnold had a problem with his rotator. And he had to take, he told me that himself. He had to take a cortisone shot in his shoulder. Whether the cortisone interfered with his peaking or whatever changes that he made, it's possible. But all I know that Arnold looked really good a month prior. That really convinced me that he could probably win the show. And you know, when Arnold is in top condition, he's going to win. I mean, I don't think anybody was going to be able to beat him during that time, honestly. Unless me, I was like, which is I was off when I can tell you what happened to me too. But yeah, Arnold was not the same person that I saw the final couple of weeks before we flew to Australia. I mean, when I saw Arnold backstage, I wasn't really as impressed as I was more impressed when I saw him at the gym.
Would you say he lost condition, muscle mass, or both? I mean, you mentioned he looked better.
Many people don't understand the game of bodybuilding, okay? Thing doesn't happen. I think it changed in a matter of hours, in a matter of 1 hour. And some people cannot differentiate between fat and flat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Arnold was flat. So what Arnold usually does, he actually load up for competition like 3 days out. I know that. And he eat and he fill up and he pops up and you look unbelievable. But whatever it is that caused him maybe retain water, I suspect, in all honesty, that Arnold's body wasn't as responsive when he came back to load up, and maybe he was holding more fluid, or maybe he was too anxious, maybe he was too something. There's something hormonal that have changed in Arnold where he was retaining water. Probably that led to using a diuretic. I think. I am not sure, but that's my own guessing. Mm-hmm. Whether I'm right or wrong. But now, after all these years in the game, I can know 1 and 1 is 2, not 11. I know exactly what's happening. So my feeling is that Arnold miscalculated, or maybe his body or chemistry have changed over the years, that he did not pop up like he used to. Because Arnold, when he ate for 3 days prior to the show, he like got better and better and better. So did Franco. I talked to Franco about it. You know, Arnold and Franco, like 3 days out, they ate and rest, and the body exploded because they deplete and replete, basically that kind of concept.
Mm.
And they both always look amazing. But I think what happened to Arnold, again, this is just my guess. That's not a concrete guess, but I can tell you about what happened on stage. That will be concrete. But my guess is Arnold, since he took that cortisone shot in his shoulders, affected something in his chemistry, whatever it was. That Arnold did not, his body wasn't as responsive the final days of loading or whatever it is that it was made him hold water. And I think in most cases, and I know myself from myself and many other champions, that sometimes we may need to use a little diuretic, and sometimes you could use the diuretic in a harsh way or a little more aggressive, or you can't be 100% concrete on the diuretic. Sometimes you could flatten out. If you lose intracellular fluid, that's going to flatten up the muscle. It's not like Arnold wasn't big or wasn't fat. He wasn't fat. Arnold had no fat on him. I know that because I saw him. It was shredded. But I don't think his body responded properly to his usual, what he used to do in the past. And we know Arnold, every time he came to to compete, especially the final 3-4 years, he looked incredible. He always speak properly, But
Samir,
I coming from the movie, and it was like Arnold was probably holding also 10 watermelon in one hand during the time. Arnold movie things connect is like at the time Arnold was different. It was more busier than usual. Contacted, they got movie script, they want to do this, they want to do that. And so, sometimes it's really difficult. For me, bodybuilding, the final phase for contest prep, you got to be like me, myself, and I. You got to focus on yourself. And if you don't put 100% tunnel vision on yourself, something gonna, not going to be it's all about really 100% tunnel vision when you aim to win the Miss Olympia.
As you have heard from Samir, Arnold looked good 2 to 3 weeks out, in his opinion. And you may have heard of the story of how Arnold had to take a cortisone shot in his shoulder a few weeks before the Olympia. But the thing is, many people have dismissed this as an excuse. Samir has mentioned that Arnold looked like he was going to be hard to beat and looked phenomenal 2 to 3 weeks out. Samir said that in the last video segment on this channel. And in his opinion, the cortisone shot may have negatively affected his ability to peak during his final 2 to 3 days of loading. He also stated that the cortisone shot may have led to water retention, disrupting Arnold's ability to load up before the show, leading to the possibility of Arnold having to resort to diuretics. All of this is, of course, Samir's theory. Again, many have dismissed this as an excuse or just outright garbage, but when you look at the science regarding cortisone, there may be some truth to what Samir is stating. It has been reported that even single cortisone shots can lead to reduced glucose uptake, protein degradation, and fluid and electrolyte retention. A case in 2022 even reported myopathy, that is, muscle weakness after a single cortisone shot, so there may be some weight to Samir's theory. Further, the negative effects of cortisone aren't necessarily just for a short period of time, but rather they can last for several weeks. In the next video, Samir will go into further details as to what happened with Arnold's physique on the night of the competition, as well as dispel further myths that are still circulating regarding the events of the 1980 Mr. Olympia, so stay tuned for the next video interview. So I do hope you have enjoyed the second interview segment with Samir Bannout, and if you have, please give the video a like, subscribe, and leave me your comments. What would you like me to ask Samir in future interviews? I would love to hear your suggestions. That's it from me. This is the Golden Era Bookworm saying bye for now. Head to www.goldenerabookworm.com for the biggest range of classic old school bodybuilding books as ebooks, e-magazines such as Iron Man and Reg Park Journal, high quality bodybuilding posters of the Golden Era stars, merchandise, and classic gymwear featuring Steve Reeves, Marvin Eder, John Grimmick, Reg Park, and many other Golden Era stars. For those wishing to build a classic physique, lose fat, and build muscle, online training is also available. Collectibles such as rare autographed photos from the Golden Era stars are also available, and to collaborate, please get in touch. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Vince Gironda's approach to bodybuilding, his principles, and all these tips of wisdom that he has, I mean, there's so much stuff that probably hasn't been proven by science, and it will take science to prove or disprove Vince. But to be honest, these 3 books, I believe, which I call the Classic Physique Bundle, are the best books that Vince ever came out with. And they, of course, are the Wild Physique, the Master Series, and the Pro Series. Have a look at it this way. The Wild Physique, I believe, is like the ABCs of Vince Gironda's principles to bodybuilding. He teaches you the exercises and his principles. But how do you put them together? Well, the Master Series is a 14-month program of using all of these principles, all of the diets that Vince came out with, all of the exercises. And of course, the Pro Series was a book that he came out with later on, specially targeted for getting into competition. It's just these 3 books, as I call it, the Classic Physique Bundle, are Vince's best work, and available, of course, at www.goldenerabookworm.com.